So guys, I read the comments. Everyone wants me to remake my Fnaf fan game. But like, guys, I don't even know how to code. Yeah, I made a Friday Night Funkin' mod once, but like, have you even seen what I've done to the code? Yeah, so I pushed out the patch, but it keeps on crashing.
Alright, let me take a look. Mike?
Yeah?
What's this?
It's the patch.
Mike, that's not how you patch code.
So instead, I went and did the next best thing. Today, I'm going to be discussing a Fnaf fan game I'm really interested in with my new co-host, Cherry! Bring her in, guys! It is! It's capable of speaking multiple different languages, and it has a built-in promotion feature.
Like and subscribe.
Mike, this is ridiculous. I mean, how much did you even pay for this pile of junk?
First of all, I think you mean how much did you pay for it? I used your credit card.
What?
Second, I have a Fnaf fan game review to record, so I need both of you to leave.
Mike, hold on, you piece of...
I know she ain't a looker, but making stuff can be a strenuous process, especially if you want to make a polished experience. And this process is present in both video making and video game making. And Animator's Hell, the Fnaf fan game I will be discussing today, is the embodiment of both of those processes. Animator's Hell is the result of a bunch of creators coming together to create a crazy but polished fan game filled with fun and unique characters like bread. This game fascinates me, and I want to go over it with all of you today in a review style video. Animator's Hell's main focus is the amount of original characters it has. In the way it's built, it's like an ultimate custom night game. However, instead of featuring different versions of Freddy and stuff, it features new characters created by multiple content creators. I'm going to focus on the characters in this video since the gameplay really derives from them, but I'll give a brief rundown of the basic mechanics of the building the game takes place in. You are stationed in the center of this building with controls for vent and hallway doors, a flashlight, and multiple tools your monitor can utilize. You can use your flashlight to fend off enemies, your keyboard to open and close the doors and vents in your office, and your camera to influence animatronics, lights, doors, heat, and so much more. You also have 3 levels that you can monitor from your camera, much like Ultimate Custom Night: the vents, main floor, and the basement. Your main objective is to survive until 6 AM, like usual, and you need to balance all of these mechanics to do so. On top of that, the multiple characters you can choose from influences those simple gameplay mechanics in so many ways. That's why the majority of this video is dedicated to them. I'll put the creator's channel or Twitter name in the corner below when we go through this roster. The variety is honestly amazing, and each and every character, both good and copyright infringement, will get a detailed look through in this video. Breddy is one of the funniest names ever for an animatronic, and Breddy lives up to the name Breddy. He is a bread version of Freddy basically, and he even looks like he had some bites taken out of him. They ate his whole arm off! In the game, Breddy attacks from the vent, and you can only see him through the cameras. And another cool touch is that he gets agitated when your room gets too hot. It's like he's afraid he'll expand and get burned to a crisp. So this is a cool green fox, or wait, hold on, it's a bunny? So this cool green bunny is named Tinado, and he attacks through the right vent of your office. You can't see him on the cameras, but he has an audio cue for when he eventually does reach your office, and then you can see him. If you fend him off with a shut door, he'll try again later on. But one quirky thing about this bunny is that he gets faster the less power you have. Luckily, it doesn't deplete your power when it runs into the door like Foxy, otherwise it would be speeding like a bullet train a few minutes in. So Cortez is the first animatronic in this game to be a Funtime-like design, and honestly, I love this. The Funtime animatronics are like my favorite looking animatronics, and not enough fan games tried to emulate this style. Cortez's jump scare is even like a spiced up fun time jump scare. It's great. Its gameplay mechanic is kinda simple though. It just pops up from behind your desk and all you have to do is shine your light on it in order to thwart it off. That's it. I wish it was a bit more involved, but I guess it doesn't hurt to have a few characters whose gameplay is a bit simpler. Deathwatch is a funky looking Ennard clone who may have found his head in between a grocery store sliding door. This guy comes at you from the window outside your office and bangs his head on the glass, slowly breaking it. I don't know, maybe with the current state of your face you don't want to use it as a blunt weapon? To prevent him from breaking into your office, you can lure him away to a different room using an audio cue. Unfortunately, any damage it did to the glass remains. And this adds a lot of tension when he returns because he could just continue from where he left off if he returns to the same window. Ender is a twisted monster animatronic that tries to attack you inside your own office, growing itself into darkness. This character design is really cool, and I can definitely tell that it took some inspiration from the many depictions of the twisted animatronics. However, again, its gameplay mechanic is very simple. All you have to do with this monster is just shine your light at its roots. I guess it's a bit more involved compared to Cortez, but I feel a bit underwhelmed. They could have done so much with this concept. Half Skull is a molten looking dude who attacks you from the cameras. He's basically like Phantom Bloom Boy, except he corrupts the camera he appears on if you look at him too long. Flipping down the camera should get rid of him though. Luna is our second funtime animatronic in this game, but this time sporting shiny stars on strings. Similar to Tornado, Luna sneaks through the vents and can't be seen on the cameras. However, you can't see it at all, and it attacks from both vents. The only way you can know if he's made it into one of the vents is through an audio cue. It can be really easy to miss, and you need to keep in mind which direction it came from, otherwise it's game over. Nightmariana is an animatronic that doesn't like to be looked at, I wonder why. Jokes aside, I actually think this design is really cool. The wings are crazy. I just wish the mechanic wasn't, hey, don't look at this design. She will randomly appear in front of your office and you have to flip up your camera to not make prolonged eye contact. Tang is a Freddy-like animatronic that has a gameplay mechanic similar to Funtime Foxy in Ultimate Custom Night. He only really appears in one of the cameras and just vibes there, but he'll attack you if you don't keep tabs on him. You have to keep his clock in sync with the current time in-game in order to prevent him from attacking. That's a really cool mechanic. It's like basically the Funtime Foxy thing except flipped on its head. Very few games use the in-game clock as an actual important thing that is tied to the animatronics. Maybe some games use the time to scale the difficulty, but this is way more involved. This jumble of wires and fur is named Pixel, and she's basically the game's puppet. She lays asleep in her room unless her music stops, and you need to make sure that the music box is kept wound up. This is one of the first animatronics that you can't stop at all with doors too. It will just bypass them. This is a very simple and previously established mechanic that I think they could have handled better. This looks like a character who would have fit in the vent mechanics perfectly in my opinion. But overall, at least this game style is a bit more involved than light. Here we have another Ennard clone who is definitely not a rotting corpse with a mask. Shadows will make his way to your office over the night and you have to scare him away with your camera beacon. If you fail to get Shadows, he will enter your office. However, he won't immediately kill you. He will just wait for the right moment to attack. That's actually really cool. It can really build up suspense. Right before I get into the details of this animatronic, can I just say, whoa, we have never had a spider animatronic before. This looks sick. Spider's gameplay mechanic involves these small spiders. They will slowly accumulate under your desk and you have to go ahead and squish them. Failing to squash them fast enough and letting them accumulate will summon Spider and he will jump scare you. Now I know what many of you might be saying, oh well that's just Nightmare Freddy with his freckles. And while yeah, I see the resemblance, it's a bit more involved than that. The freckles just need light to be flashed away, while these spiders need to be individually crushed. Plus, if you don't crush them, they obscure your view like those mini-arenas. This slight difference demands that you pay more attention to the spiders, and it's more of a risk leaving them alone. Overall, I really like the design and the gameplay of this particular animatronic. It is really good. Sunny is a very cartoony looking fox that is lacking its bottom half of the body, having a molten Freddy-like structure. Sunny will attack from the middle vent and you can prevent her from entering the office by closing the vent door. However, if your room is above 80 degrees, she will stay in the vent until the room cools down, forcing you to either lower the temperature or keep the vent closed. BW1 and George are a very unique set of characters since they are two animatronics that work in tandem with each other. The first animatronic, BW1, is actually not hostile, at least immediately. You can prevent him from reaching your office by using a camera beacon, but if he isn't hostile, why would you want to prevent him from reaching your office? What's the big deal? Well, if BW1 makes it to your office, he expels a gas that starts to cause hallucinations, as well as activates George. George is basically like a spiced up phantom balloon boy. He'll jump scare you and cause hallucinations, but he'll also disable some of your tools. I like how you can prevent George from spawning in if you prevent BW1 from entering your office though. It looks like we are about halfway through this list of characters. Do you want to take over, Cherry? Okay, moving on. This cat animatronic has one main feature in the game: running. You'll randomly hear Valentina running to your office from either the right or left door, and you have to close it before she can enter, much like Foxy in Fnaf 1. The challenge comes from not being able to keep tabs on her from the cameras and also having to look out for the right door to close. I can definitely see this character ending some runs pretty quickly by one misclick. It was really hard for me to stop it once. It's literally Pac-Man, like it's just Pac-Man, except he hasn't washed off some dirt on him. His gimmick is even playing the game of Pac-Man on the monitor on your desk. You can't make this up. I would be lying if I said this wasn't scary though. Like suddenly you're playing an entirely different game and the music is slightly remixed to be a bit more scary. I just can't get over the fact it's freaking Pac-Man. Axie is a fox animatronic that decides to randomly materialize out of a computer screen in the computer room. You need to connect the wire nodes that appear on the screen in order to fend him off, and if you are too slow, he will jump scare you. The design could have been a bit more original. This really does just look like a stylized Foxy, and a good stylization at that. But yeah, at least the gameplay mechanic is unique. Comet is another animatronic cat who has two different forms similar to BW1 and George. In his first form, he jumps back and forth between the two front doors and you have to look at your cameras to figure out which door he'll appear from. Close the doors and you stop it. That's very simple. However, there's a whole other layer to this character's gameplay. At random points in the night, he'll laugh and retreat to the basement, where he becomes Nightmare Comet, and his gameplay is completely different now. You now need to go to the basement and find him in the cameras to use the camera beacon on him to revert him back to his normal form and not get killed. It's a lot more of a fight to keep Comet at bay, and it's really cool. Probably one of my more favorite animatronics gameplay wise. Okay, this animatronic has like one of the coolest designs ever. It's this nightmare-like beast that has crazy over-exaggerated features and multiple dark tentacles. It's so cool. He even has a really cool jump scare animation where he rips out the whole floor and jumps his way up to attack you. He has this crazy level of polish that not many other characters have. Gameplay-wise, he acts very similar to Ender, thriving and growing stronger in the darkness. However, instead of residing in your office, he hides in the basement in a much darker place. By diverting the power to the lights in that room, you can prevent him from growing too large. You can also use the camera beacon in a pinch too. This is like one of the best characters in the game by far. Good job, guys. Whoa, we have another really cool design. It's literally a dragon. I love how this animatronic looks. He will periodically appear in the east vent, and you have to get rid of him with your flash beacon. If you fail to do so, he will set your vents ablaze, which will raise the temperature of your room, which could agitate the other animatronics. I like this character, and his mechanic is really cool and creative. However, I wish they did a little more with him. Like, he doesn't really confront you at all, and I wish he did. He has such a cool design. This sunrise looking fellow who shares the same name with these gremlins is one of the only enemies in the game that looks like a human or haunted entity. Ewok is apparently made of wax, so naturally she is in the boiler room of all places. When the building is over 90 degrees, she'll start to melt, and if she melts completely, her mask will come and kill you. If Ewok completely melts, you can close your right door to stop the mask temporarily, but you're basically screwed. Also, Ewok is the one who jump scares you if you lose power. She plays this really scary tune that really makes the situation tense. Frisk basically looks like Funtime Freddy, but he's pointy. He appears in the right vent, and you have to manage how close he is to the vent's exit. Using an audio lure, you can move Frisk further down the vent, but he'll never leave. You can also close the vent door to prevent him from entering your office. However, he will not leave unless you attempt to use the audio lure. Cool mechanic, however, he is kind of annoying since he never leaves the vent at all. You constantly need to keep tabs on him. Here we have the one animatronic that inflicts the most feelings out of any character in this game. He's so big and fluffy and his name is Fruki, but then he stares at you with a full set of teeth and you realize that he has saliva and now he's the scariest thing ever. He will hide in one of the rooms in your camera and you need to find and click him to keep him away every hour. The Gemini twins have two very interesting designs. They are the only doll-like characters in the game. One of the two twins will enter your office through the bathroom, and to get rid of them you need to give them the other side of their broken mask. These guys don't kill you, but if you fail to match the face on their mask, they will take some power away from you. Here we have a nice fiery ghost to spice things up near the end of the list. He can instantly raise the temperature of the building by appearing in the basement, and can raise the temperature of the room by a whole 25 degrees if he isn't accounted for. If you want to get rid of him, all you need to do is turn on the sprinkler system, and then he should leave you alone for a bit. Terrence takes the form of Nightmare Bonnie if he had his Fnaf world proportions but with the detail of his Fnaf 4 iteration. This animatronic lurks in the basement and will try to get to your office by taking the stairs or the elevator. If he gets to your floor, it's game over, so you need to lock down the doors to your stairs or the elevator in order to keep him away. Really cool design. I actually think more animatronics could benefit from having their designs like this. I really encourage people to play with proportions. And for the final two opponents, these two puppets appear on the left and right doors, hiding in the darkness. All you have to do to get rid of these two is shine your flashlight at them, and they shouldn't be a big problem. We also have an honorable mention, this stupid clown guy that almost gave me a heart attack since I was clicking his nose so much one night that I was bored. And that's everyone. The amount of variation both in design and gameplay is enough to even rival the original Ultimate Custom Night, and this game has the polish to make it a big recommendation on my part. On top of the amazing roster, we also have more characters on the way, and a ton of Easter eggs for fans to bite into. Please check this game out when it gets more updates. Cherry, do you have any final thoughts on this? Okay then. Happy Halloween, you guys, and remember, don't get